Men will never leave you if you do this in bed. There is a truth that I want you to remember, a truth that too many women overlook. The greatest power you hold in any relationship, especially in the bedroom, is the ability to connect deeply with your partner, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. This connection, this deep sense of being seen and understood, is what makes a relationship. When we talk about intimacy, there's often an overwhelming focus on the physical aspect, though we look, what we do, how we perform. The pressure to measure up to certain standards, whether it's how our bodies are shaped or how we're expected to please our partner, can make us lose sight of something far more important, the emotional connection that should underlie every intimate encounter. This emotional bond is the true foundation of intimacy, and without it, the physical act becomes just that, an act, rather than an experience that deepens your connection with one another. So, let's take a moment to really understand the power of emotional connection. True intimacy starts with feeling seen and heard. And when we feel this emotional connection with our partner, the rest of it flows effortlessly. Emotional intimacy builds trust, and trust builds safety. And when there's safety in a relationship, when both people feel understood, respected, and cared for, the physical side of things becomes less about performance and more about shared experience. The connection you share goes beyond the act itself and becomes a part of who you are as individuals, a part of the foundation of your relationship. When you prioritize emotional connection, you begin to create an atmosphere where both partners can feel vulnerable. Vulnerability is the gateway to deeper emotional connection. It's in the moments when you are able to share your true feelings, your fears, your hopes, and your dreams that real closeness is formed. And when both partners are emotionally invested, when they're sharing not just their bodies, but their hearts and minds, you create a bond that sustains itself long after the physical act is over. Many women and even men feel pressure to perform in the bedroom, believing that physical satisfaction is the ultimate goal. But what often gets lost in this thinking is the idea that intimacy is not just about giving someone pleasure. It's about connecting on a soul-deep level, about showing up for one another emotionally and mentally. That's when the real magic happens. It's in those quiet, tender moments when you are not focused on technique or trying to meet some external expectation, but rather on truly being present for your partner. That's when intimacy becomes a shared experience, not just a moment of physical release. When you stop focusing solely on performance and instead prioritize emotional connection, you begin to cultivate something far more powerful, a deep understanding of one another's needs and desires. This kind of connection is not about impressing each other. It's about connecting in a way that feels authentic and mutual. It allows both partners to open up and express themselves freely without the fear of judgment or rejection. This level of openness creates a bond that can't be broken by fleeting moments or passing physical attraction. Instead, it's a bond that is nurtured over time through the everyday moments of communication, care, and understanding. In the end, emotional connection is what makes the physical side of intimacy so much more meaningful. It transforms the act from a simple physical exchange to an experience that's rich with love, trust, and respect. So the next time you think about intimacy in your relationship, remember, the most lasting, fulfilling experiences aren't about how you perform, they're about how you show up for each other emotionally. When you nurture that emotional connection, you create a foundation of intimacy that will keep your relationship strong, no matter the years that pass or the challenges that arise. And that, my dear, is the kind of bond that no one wants to walk away from. Trust is the bedrock of any meaningful relationship, especially when it comes to intimacy. Without it, any connection, no matter how intense, is fragile. Think about the times when you felt completely comfortable and at ease with someone, the moments when you could be completely yourself, without pretending, without holding back, and without fear of judgment. That is the power of trust. And when it comes to deepening intimacy in a relationship, it's trust that creates the space for vulnerability to thrive. Vulnerability, often seen as a weakness, is in fact one of the greatest strengths you can bring to a relationship. It is the courage to show your partner your true self, the parts that are sometimes messy, uncertain, or afraid. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you give your partner permission to do the same. This creates an atmosphere where when you create an atmosphere of trust, you also create a space where both partners feel comfortable being vulnerable. Vulnerability isn't just about sharing your deepest secrets or exposing your insecurities. It's also about being willing to ask for what you need and to express your desires openly without shame. For many, this can be one of the hardest things to do, especially in intimate relationships, but it's also one of the most rewarding. When you feel safe enough to show your true self, you allow your partner to do the same. This mutual openness creates an emotional intimacy that deepens the bond between you both. You stop hiding parts of yourself, and instead you come together in the fullness of who you are. Vulnerability also means being willing to admit when you are wrong, when you are hurt, or when you don't have all the answers. It's okay to be imperfect. It's okay to ask for help, to show weakness, to admit that you don't always have it all together. In fact, this is what brings you closer. When both partners are able to be vulnerable, they create a relationship that isn't based on perfection, but on honesty and authenticity. And that's when intimacy takes root, when you no longer feel like you have to put on a mask or be someone you are not to be loved. But trust and vulnerability don't just happen overnight. They require patience and time to develop. There will be moments of doubt, moments when you question whether you can truly trust someone with your heart. But the key is to keep showing up, to keep communicating, and to continue building that space where you can both be vulnerable with each other. Trust can be fragile, and it can take time to heal if it's broken. But once it's established and nurtured, it becomes the foundation of a bond that can weather any storm. When you create an atmosphere of trust and vulnerability, the intimacy between you and your partner becomes something far deeper than what can be experienced through physical touch alone. It becomes a place where both of you can grow and evolve together, where your bond is rooted in emotional connection, mutual care, and understanding. This is the kind of intimacy that lasts, that strengthens over time, and that becomes unshakable. In this space, there is no fear of rejection, no hesitation to be your true self, and no doubt that the relationship is built on a solid foundation of love, respect, and unwavering trust. And in this safe, vulnerable space, you will find a depth of intimacy that will keep both of you coming back to each other time and time again. Communication is the lifeblood of any relationship. It's not just about talking. It's about being heard and understood in a way that nurtures respect and fosters connection. Too often we fall into patterns of assuming we know what our partner needs, or worse, we remain silent, hoping that our partner will somehow read our minds. But real deep communication requires intention. It requires us to be open, to listen actively, and to express ourselves honestly. It's in these moments of true communication that respect is cultivated, not only in the words we speak, but in the way we show up for each other. The first step in cultivating respect through communication is learning to listen, not just to respond, but to understand. So often, in the midst of a conversation, we're thinking about our next response rather than actually hearing what our partner is saying. Listening is an act of respect. It says to the other person, "Your feelings, thoughts, and perspectives matter to me." When we listen deeply, we validate our partner's experiences and emotions, even if we don't always agree with them. We create an environment where both partners feel safe to share their innermost thoughts, knowing they won't be dismissed or minimized. This foundation of mutual understanding builds respect and trust, the pillars of any lasting connection. Effective communication also involves expressing ourselves clearly and honestly. It's about being vulnerable with our words, allowing our partner to see the full scope of who we are, your desires, our needs, and even our fears. It can be uncomfortable at times to open up, especially when we're afraid of being judged or misunderstood. But when we make the choice to communicate openly, we invite our partner into a space of transparency. And in that space, respect thrives. When you speak from a place of honesty and vulnerability, you allow your partner to do the same, creating a dynamic where both people feel valued and heard. This mutual exchange of thoughts, feelings, and experiences fosters a respect that goes beyond just surface-level interactions. Empathy and care are the unseen forces that hold a relationship together, often more powerful than anything that can happen within the bedroom. While physical intimacy is important, the true strength of a relationship lies in how partners show up for each other outside of those private moments. How you treat each other in everyday situations, how you support each other through life's challenges, and how you show love through actions beyond just physical touch are the things that build a deep, lasting connection. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. It's more than just listening to your partner, it's feeling what they feel, seeing the world through their eyes, and responding with compassion. When you show empathy, you are not just acknowledging your partner's experience. You are validating their emotions and offering a sense of safety and understanding. It's in the small, everyday gestures, the way you listen without interrupting when they're stressed, the way you hold them when they're feeling low, or the way you make space for them to express their vulnerabilities that empathy truly shines. These acts, though they may seem simple, are what create the emotional intimacy that sustains a relationship. When empathy becomes a cornerstone of your relationship, you create an environment where both partners feel seen, heard, and understood. It's a place where you don't have to pretend to be something you are not, where you can be fully yourself without fear of judgment. This emotional safety fosters a deeper connection as both partners are encouraged to express their true feelings and needs. And when one partner feels safe, the other is inspired to offer the same support in return. This cycle of understanding and care strengthens the relationship, making it a space where both partners feel valued and loved, even in the most ordinary of moments. But empathy isn't just about responding to your partner's feelings in the moment. It's about anticipating their needs and being present for them in ways that go beyond just providing solutions. Sometimes your partner doesn't need advice or fixes. They just need someone to listen, to acknowledge what they're going through, and to offer reassurance. Other times, empathy looks like offering a helping hand when your partner is overwhelmed or exhausted, or it means stepping in to alleviate their burdens when life becomes too much. When you show up for your partner in these ways, you are demonstrating that their well-being matters to you and that you are committed to being there for them, not just when things are easy, but when things are tough as well. Beyond empathy, care involves actively prioritizing your partner's emotional, mental, and physical needs. It's the little things you do every day to show that you are thinking about their well-being. Whether it's taking time out of your day to check in with them, offering a shoulder to lean on when they're feeling down, or celebrating their achievements, these acts of care build a strong foundation for intimacy. When care is present in a relationship, it manifests in thoughtful gestures, no matter how small. It's about making sure your partner feels supported, cherished, and loved in ways that go beyond what happens in the bedroom. When we show care, we're also showing respect. Respecting your partner's space, their time, their emotions, and their boundaries is a fundamental part of any healthy relationship. This means that you are actively choosing to honor their needs, even when it's inconvenient or difficult for you. Care isn't about grand gestures alone. It's about the daily acts of consideration and kindness that demonstrate how much you value and appreciate your partner. These moments may seem ordinary, but they're the ones that lay the groundwork for deep, lasting love. They say, "I see you, I hear you, and I care about you," in ways that words alone cannot express. Empathy and care also involve recognizing when your partner is struggling, even when they don't say anything. It's noticing the small signs, the way they're quieter than usual, the way they seem distracted or distant, responding with a level of understanding that lets them know you are there without needing them to ask for help. Sometimes the greatest care we can show is simply being present, sitting with them in their pain, their frustration, or their joy, offering a quiet sense of support without pushing for them to open up or change their state of being. It's these moments of emotional attunement where you can feel your partner's energy and respond with the right kind of care that deepen your bond in ways that go far beyond physical attraction. The beauty of empathy and care is that they're not confined to any one moment. They don't have an expiration date, nor are they only needed during times of crisis. They're an ongoing practice woven into the fabric of your relationship. When you show empathy and care consistently, furthermore, nurturing yourself is about honoring your passions and interests. In the hustle of daily life, it's easy to forget the things that bring us joy, whether it's a hobby, creative pursuit, or simply time spent in nature. When you make time for the things that bring you happiness, you not only enrich your own life, but also replenish your spirit. These activities allow you to reconnect with yourself, to remind yourself of who you are outside of your roles as a partner, friend, or caregiver. They give you the opportunity to express your individuality, to recharge, and to experience fulfillment beyond the responsibilities of everyday life. By nurturing your passions, you keep the fire within you alive, and this energy naturally flows into every area of your life, including your relationships. Nurturing yourself first is about creating a life that is balanced, fulfilling, and centered around your own well-being. It's a practice of self-love that acknowledges your worth and ensures that you have the capacity to give love to others. When you make self-care a priority, you shift from a place of depletion to a place of abundance. You become more patient, more compassionate, and more connected to yourself, and in turn, you can show up for others in a way that is deeply authentic and supportive. Nurturing yourself is not just a one-time act, it's a lifelong commitment to honoring your needs, your health, and your happiness. In the journey of love and connection, it's essential to remember that the most meaningful relationships are built on a foundation of emotional depth, understanding, and care that transcends the physical. To truly nurture a bond that is lasting and fulfilling, we must prioritize the emotional connection first, creating an atmosphere of trust and vulnerability, communicating with empathy and respect, and caring for one another in ways that go far beyond the bedroom. Yet, the key to sustaining this bond lies in nurturing ourselves first. When we invest in our own well-being, emotionally, physically, and mentally, we create a space where we can fully show up for the ones we love with energy, clarity, and the capacity to give without depleting ourselves. By embracing these principles, we don't just enhance our relationships, we transform them. When we cultivate empathy, communicate with respect, and nurture our own needs, we lay the groundwork for a partnership that is resilient, connected, and deep. We empower ourselves to show up as our best selves and give our partners the space to do the same. And in that mutual growth and care, we build a love that is not only fulfilling in the moment, but enduring over time, because it is rooted in respect, trust, and the strength of vulnerability.